Hi there, and thanks for tuning in. This is going to be your Chapter 1 review found on page 44 in your textbook, and this is just going to help you review for your midterm, which is coming up in a few days. So for number 1, to solve the equation, you had to subtract 3 from both, so that z is equal to negative 9. For number 2, you had to divide by 0.2 on both sides, so that t is equal to negative 13. And then for number 3, you had to multiply by negative 5 on both sides, so that n is equal to 10. Okay, those are pretty quick and easy. For number 4, these are two-step equations, so I'm going to subtract 11 first. I get 3y is equal to negative 27, and when I divide both sides by 3, I get y is equal to negative 9. For number 5, I subtract 1 from both sides, so I get 5 is equal to negative b, and then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1 to get b not negative, so b is actually equal to negative 5 for number 5. For number 6, I'm going to go and combine like terms first, so it gives me 6n plus 7 is equal to 43. I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides to get 6n is equal to 36. And when I divide both sides by 6, n is equal to 6. For number 7, you had to do a little bit extra work for these. You had to distribute first. So negative 8z minus 24 minus 12 is equal to 4. You can go ahead and combine these like terms. So negative 8z minus 36 is equal to 4. I'm gonna add 36 to both sides. So I get negative 8z is equal to 40. And then when you divide both sides by negative 8, z is equal to negative 5. For number 8, I'm distributing the 3 halves. So I have 3 halves x. And then 3 halves times 2, if you do that to the side over here, it's basically going to give you 6 over 2, which is equal to 3. So minus 3 minus 5 equals 19. I'm going to combine these two terms real quick. So that gives me 3 halves x minus 8 is equal to 19. I'm going to add 8 to both sides so that I get 3 halves x is equal to 27. And then I'm going to times both sides by the reciprocal, or 2/3. So that gives me 27 times 2, and then divide by 3 will give me 18. Okay, that's 54 divided by 3. For number 9, combining like terms would be the best thing to start off with. 1/5 plus 7/5 gives me 8/5 w minus 4, and that's still equal to 6. I'm going to add 4 to both sides, and that's going to give me 10. So 10 is equal to 8/5 w. I'm going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which is 5/8. So w is equal to 50 divided by 8 for number 9. You do get a decimal here, so you can say your decimal is 6.25, or you can say 6 1/4. Both of those would be correct. For number 10, it says find the value of x, then find angle measures of the polygon. So 10, I just wrote an equation first, 5x plus 110 plus 2x is equal to 180. I'm going to combine like terms to give me 7x plus 110 is equal to 180. And then subtract 110 from both sides to give me 7x is equal to 70. And then if I divide both sides by 7, I get x is equal to 10. So my 3 angles will be 110, and then 5x, I'm just going to do 5 times 10, which is 50 degrees, and then 2 times 10, which is 20 degrees. So both of these answers would need to be given for number 10 to get full credit. 11, you just had a little bit more to do. What I did first is just combine the x's. So there's x, 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, and then negative 30s, there are 3 of them, so 5x minus 90 equals 540. I'm going to add 90 to both sides. I'm going to get 630, and then divide both sides by 5. X is equal to 126. So 2 of my angles will be 126 degrees, because they're both just x. And then the other 3 angles are 126 minus 30, which is going to give me 96. So 3 96-degree angles. Okay, so there's your full answer for number 11. For 12, you have variables on both sides, so we just need to get all the variables to the left and all the constants to the right. I'm just going to get in the habit of always moving my variables to the left and constants to the right. So I'm adding 3 to the right, subtracting 4 to get to the left. 3 minus 4 is negative 1n, and then 1 plus 3 is 4. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1, so that for number 12 I should get n is equal to negative 4. For number 13, I'm going to distribute first, so I get 5 plus 5x is equal to 5x plus 5. And you should be already to see something here, but if you didn't, you could subtract 5x from both sides, so that you get 5 is equal to 5. And since this is true, we're going to say my answer is all real numbers. Okay, for number 14, I'm going to distribute the 3 over here on the left side, so 3n plus 12. And over here on the right, I'm going to distribute the 1/2, so 3n plus 2. And again, you should notice something here, but if you didn't, if you subtract 3n from both sides, you get 12 is equal to 2. This is not true, so we're going to say no solution for number 14. Okay, going on to number 15. Remember, with absolute value, you have to write 2 equations. So the first equation would just be normal. Y plus 3 is equal to 17. And then you would also write y plus 3 is equal to the opposite of 17, which is negative 17. Okay, you go ahead and solve each one. Solving the same way, you'll just get 2 different answers. I get 14 for the first answer and negative 20 for the second answer. Both of those answers work, so they're both reliable. For number 16, it would be important to isolate absolute value. So I'm going to minus 9 first. So I get negative 2, absolute value 5w minus 7 is equal to negative 16. And then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2, so that I get absolute value of 5w minus 7 is equal to 8. Okay, so this is where we start. So I have 5w minus 7 equals 8, and 5w minus 7 equals negative 8. I'm going to go ahead and start solving here, both of them. So on the left side, I get 5w is equal to 15. That means w is equal to 3. And then for the right side, I get 5w is equal to negative 1. So w is equal to negative 1/5, or you can say negative 0.2. So both of these answers would work for 16. For 17, remember this one you have to write, you still write 2 absolute values, except the second one will just be everything opposite. I'm going to scoot that over just a little bit. So we have x minus 2 is equal to 4 plus x. And then I'm going to do the other one in another color. This one will have to be, I'm going to do this one down here. X minus 2 is equal to negative 4 minus x. So you have to put everything as their opposite. I'm going to go ahead and solve the blue one since I'm using my blue pen. Add 2 to both sides, add x to both sides. So I get 2x is equal to negative 2. I get x is equal to negative 1 when I solve for number 17. This one up here in red, if I add 2 to both sides and subtract x from both sides, I get 0 is equal to 6, and that's not true, so we would not use that one. So the only solution we have for number 17 is x is equal to -1. You wouldn't say no solution because you still have one solution that you can use. You can use -1, okay? So this one would technically be extraneous. But you would only report the one that works, okay? For the next one, 18, it says the minimum sustained wind of a Category 1 hurricane is 74 miles per hour. The maximum sustained wind is 95 miles per hour. Write an absolute value equation that represents the minimum and maximum speeds. So for this one, I first just start by drawing a number line. 74 is the minimum and 95 is the maximum. And then what I go ahead and do for number 18 is I just find the distance between them. So 95 minus 74 is equal to 21, okay? And then I do 21 divided by 2, and that gives me 10.5. So 10.5 is going to tell me the median between these two numbers. So 74 plus 10.5, that's going to give me 84.5. Because there is a 10.5 gap between here and a 10.5 gap between here. So whenever you are setting up your absolute value inequality, x minus 84.5 would have a difference of only 10.5 because you can only get up to 95 or down to 74. Okay, so you use the median number for the absolute value when you're subtracting, and then the distance between them for the answer. Even distance. And then this is the median. So maybe that'll help you a little bit when you're studying. For number 19, solving the literal equation for y, that means just solve and get y by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 2x from both sides. So I get negative 4y is equal to 20 minus 2x. And then I'm going to divide by negative 4 for everything. So I'm going to get y is equal to negative 5 plus 1/2 x, because the negative 2 and negative 4 give me a positive for number 19. If you wrote y is equal to 1/2 x minus 5, that is also true because 5 is still negative, 1/2 is still positive. For number 20, I'm going to move this 5 away from the 4y. So I'm going to get 8x minus 8 equals 4y, and then just divide everything by 4. So I'm going to get 2x minus 2 is equal to y. For number 21, it would help you to factor this one because y is now in two of the things and we need to get y by itself. So I'm going to factor out y so that I get 9 plus 3x, and that's equal to a. And then to finally get y by itself, I'm just going to divide all of this by 9 plus 3x. So y is equal to a over 9 plus 3x. Okay. Going on to number 22, we're solving for h. So I'm going to start with the letter A. We have volume is equal to 1/3 BH. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of B. So I'm going to have V over B is equal to 1/3 H. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by 3 over 1 to get rid of that fraction. So H is equal to 3V over B for number 22. Okay. Then for part B, it says find the height of the pyramid. Well, we already solved for H, so what I can do is plug in what I know from this problem. I know 3 is there, I know V is 216, and I know B is 36. So I'm going to do 3 times 216 and then divide by 36 to find height. 216 times 3 is going to give me the 648. And then when I divide that by 36, I'm going to get 18 as my height. Okay, so here are your two answers for 22. For 23, we're solving the formula for k. So this one will start off with f is equal to 9/5, parentheses k minus 273.15 plus 32. First thing I'm going to do is subtract 32 from both sides. So I'm going to get f minus 32 is equal to 9/5, parentheses k minus 273.15. And then I'm going to multiply, I'm going to do this in different color here, by 5/9 on both sides. Because I'm multiplying by 5/9 with f and 32, I'm going to group that so you can see how that's supposed to look. So 5/9 group f minus 32, because f and 32 are being multiplied by 5/9, right? Is equal to k minus 273.15. I can get rid of the parentheses now with the k because there's nothing else with it. And then my last step will just be to add 273. So that k is equal to 5/9 f minus 32 plus 273.15. So for letter B, it says convert 180 degrees Fahrenheit to Kelvin. You just plug in the 180 degrees. 5/9 parentheses, new color, (180) minus 32 plus 273.15 should give me the k. I'm going to do this real quick. 180 minus 32 is going to give me 148. So 148 plus 273.15, and then 5 times the 5/9. I'm going to go ahead and times that by 5/9, so 5 times 148, and then divide that by 9. I get a repeating decimal, but it says to the nearest hundredth, so 82.22, and then add that to 273.15, so 82.22 plus 273.15 is 355.37, and that's equal to your k. All right, so that's going to conclude your review. So just make sure that you can go back and look at whatever you need to. Good luck on your midterm. You can also look back in Chapter 2's review stuff, because Chapter 2 will be on your midterm as well. Thanks for tuning in.